You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. Tonight I'm not angry and I'm not crabby because welcome back to the show, our good friend Abby.
Hey everybody.
Yes, the dulcet tones of Abby have returned to Thursday Night AMP. How is your new phone?
I like my new phone now that I've got it to work somewhat.
Is it a Samsung Galaxy iPhone? What kind of phone is it?
It is an iPhone 6S Plus.
Oh yeah, I love the 6S. That's the one I use as well. And I justify it as a business expense, but I don't know how I could live without it now.
Yeah, the fact that the screen is not shattered into a gazillion pieces is the best part of it. That's not being held together by a screen protector. That's the best part.
Yeah, well, get yourself a nice hard case so if you drop it or anything happens, it'll take the shock.
Yes, an Abby proof case is coming in the mail tomorrow.
Fabulous. I'm glad to hear that. Also on the line with us tonight, Great Sudoku, a.k.a. Jason Harlan.
Yes, indeed. My phone's camera almost melted in the nearly 400,000 person crowd at downtown Pittsburgh on Wednesday yesterday to see the Pittsburgh Penguins victory parade. So way to go, Pens. That was awesome. Way to win that Stanley Cup for us.
Now, were they also parading with their replica WWE heavyweight title that Triple H sent them?
I didn't see the title in the parade. They may have had it up on stage afterwards, but I did see the conference trophy and I did see the Stanley Cup.
All right. Did you get to touch the cup? Did you get to kiss the cup?
I did not. No, I said they should have just passed it around with champagne and let us all drink from it.
You know, one of the biggest irks in my life right now, and I'm trying not to hold this against him, but I've seen a photo of Brian Alvarez with the Stanley Cup, and he doesn't even like hockey. He doesn't even watch hockey. That guy got to take a picture with the Stanley Cup, and I've never even seen it. And I've just been perplexed and mystified and dumbfounded by that fact for a long time now.
Boo.
But at least the Pens defeated the Sharks, so all is right in the universe.
And you called it in 6 games.
Yes, I was a prognosticator and not a fool, so I'm pretty happy about that. But we'll see if I can do as well with the 2 big events that we have coming up this weekend. But before we get to that, we have to talk about TNA. And I do mean we have to.
Start off the show on a bad note, man.
Well, you kind of led us there, Abby, because you had a pretty good rant going off the air. So now that we're live, I want you to tell people why TNA just can't win for losing, even when it's not their fault.
Yeah, I've just followed, it was Slammiversary, I just followed along on my timeline, and it was like, that's as much effort as I can put into, TNA is on Twitter, and it's not the talent's fault, and I know that. It's management's fault, but good God almighty. And then on Tuesday
but also
night.
the commentators. My God, Josh Matthews and the Pope have to be the worst commentary team outside of Cole and JBL I have ever heard. They do a horrible job of putting that talent over.
And then Tuesday night on Pop, and it's like you tune in to see their semi-live show where all the titles are going to be defended, and what do you see? Well, you see abso-fucking-lutely nothing.
Well, I learned 2 things from that 2 hours of non-television. First of all, I learned that they really like replays of the 70s show. And second, I learned that the former Late Late Show host, Colin Ferguson, has his own game show on Pop TV. Two things I learned in 2 hours and nothing else.
But, I mean, the thing is, and a lot of people were saying this, is that, it wasn't TNA's fault, and we all understand that, but casual fans and even actual real fans alike are going to have a hard time digesting that, because with all the problems that TNA has, that's just one more thing to add to the list.
Well, let's compound it by explaining what happened over the weekend and why people would have suspected it was TNA's fault. Hey, I have to quote Gene Snitsky here. It's not my fault. But in this case, you can understand. You can understand why fans thought it was.
It was Dixie's fault.
Yeah, well, Dixie has nearly sank the company for the umpteenth time. This is how bad it got. Their chief financial officer, Dean Broadhead, went on Facebook and said in public to everybody who could read it that he had to make 80 phone calls in one day just to get the production trucks rolling. And the reason behind that, as has been revealed over the last few days with all the dirt sheets and newsletters and reporters that have investigated it, Aerolux, the company that was bankrolling TNA's production for the last few months, started calling in their debts. They're like, you owe us, pay now. And if TNA didn't pay, the production trucks weren't going to roll out for the tapings this week in Orlando. So Dean had to come up with the cash out of his ass, and coincidentally, we don't know if this is what made the difference or not. We now have Billy Corgan as a minority investor in the company. Basically,
they call him on the show William Corgan.
Oh, William Corgan.
No, he's Billy. He is Billy. He will always be Billy. Don't try to pass him off as William. He is Billy Corgan.
Yeah, I will call him Billy since I know him from the Smashing Pumpkins. But anyway, he basically was the angel of mercy that Dixie has been looking for all along, because he didn't want to buy the company. He just put some money into it and let her keep control, which nobody else who has looked to buy TNA has been willing to do. But Billy Corgan has a little bit of a vested interest in doing it because he's actually employed by TNA as the director of creative, whatever his official title is. It's senior creative director, something like that. I'll look it up later. The point is, whether or not Billy Corgan is solely responsible for bailing their asses out, they were that close to going under, because if they didn't get the production trucks rolling, they didn't tape TV. And if they didn't tape TV, they don't get paid by their international TV partners. And if they don't get paid by their international TV partners, they're out of money. They can't pay the talent. It's over. They were that close. It was 11th hour close. So when TNA did not air live on Tuesday night and we got color bars and commercials for 2 hours, you cannot blame people who follow wrestling for thinking TNA did not pay their bills.
Again.
I had to get that rant out of my system. TNA
Life
is their
support
own
for the
worst enemy.
50,000th time for TNA. Ugh.
And
The thing is, how many times does this have to happen until this woman, who cannot be as big of an idiot as she appears, nobody can be this stupid and still be alive?
I heard.
How many times does this have to happen until somebody somewhere pulls her aside and says, okay, we've got to make a decision as to whether or not we can honestly stay in business or not?
This is what.
Because
oh, go ahead, Abby.
it's not fair. It's not fair, especially to the men and women who get in that ring. That's who it's not fair to. I don't care about anybody else. I mean, fine, you got production people. Fine, you got office staff. Fine, you got people who send out the T-shirts. It's the men and women who get in that ring that make that company. They need to know that they have a company to work for week in and week out, because they are more than, Gail Kim, the person, the former TNA Knockouts champion. They are more than, broken Matt Hardy. They are more than Jeff Hardy. They are more than Drew Galloway, the performer. They are people with lives and families and stories and friends and everything outside of a wrestling ring. They deserve to know, hey, I work for a place that's going to be around next week.
I am certainly not arguing with any of that. I am only going to tell you what I have read and what I have heard. And it has nothing to do with any of the factual statements you just made about the people who work in the office and the talent and everybody who deserves to know that there's a paycheck coming that won't bounce like a rubber ball when they get it. What I have heard and read is that Dixie Carter, who, as you said, can't be as stupid as she sometimes seems, is incapable of separating herself from the product at this point. It's not that she isn't smart enough to realize it. It's that she has literally put her entire life into it and seen it climb as high as having 1.3 million viewers a week on Spike. And knowing that she's achieved that height, she cannot let that dream go. She thinks that she can still get back there, and she's not willing to give up until it completely fails on her and she's forced to confront the reality.
She wasn't forced to confront the reality this weekend?
Well, he would say she was, but Dean Broadhead bailed her out, and it took him like 2 or 3 days to realize that he was making the entire company look like a bunch of clowns before he finally deleted his Facebook post.
Lord have mercy.
And the telling thing is, in his post he said, maybe it's time to retire. This guy was... Or
maybe not until everything is, fixed. What do you say? Everything is not fixed first or, set right first or something like that.
Well, yeah, he tried to be graceful about it, but you could tell that the guy had completely had it up to here with having to get out the bucket and bail out the boat as it was sinking. He was done at that point.
Oh, after so many times of doing it, wouldn't you be too? It's like, Jesus, woman, take the blinders off and, it's like somebody in her inner circle has got to be able to pull her aside and say, wake up and look at what's going on around you.
Here's what gets me that I'm completely unable to fathom about the whole thing. They keep trying to sign people like Jeff Hardy, Drew Galloway, EC3 to exclusive contracts. And what money are they going to pay these people with? Why would they sign exclusive contracts with TNA not knowing whether they're going to get paid for it or not?
I hope to hell none of these people sign a damn contract without getting paid the full amount up front and waiting 7 to 10 days for the check to clear.
Well, now you're getting into ECW territory. It's like, get in line. Whoever gets there first to Paul Heyman gets paid and everybody else's checks don't go through. Take it and rush to the bank as fast as you can.
I don't know. I've been saying for about 2 or 3 years now that it's only a matter of time before TNA, goes off. And I think we might just be at that point where they need to make the decision to close the doors before the decision gets made for them.
And please understand, this is not something I'm cheering or rooting on or celebrating. Now, Abby may disagree with me on that, but I don't want to see these people unemployed and out of a job.
Oh, no, I don't either. That's why I'm saying the men and the women that work for this company deserve so much better than what they're getting.
I don't want to see them unemployed. I want to see them employed by a better employer, by someone who knows how to put on a better product. Be that ROH, be that NXT, be that New Japan, be that All Japan, be that Big Japan, be that DDT, be that PWG, be it whoever. But yeah, for judging from Slammiversary and almost, but not quite making it through the entire card, this can't go on much longer.
No,
if there's a company, if there's a wrestling company out there that can successfully promote, book, and build a rubber fucking doll and get it over, then there's a wrestling promotion. There's a promoter out there that can do something with people from TNA. I mean, think about it. You can build something with a rubber doll, and Dixie can't even pay her damn bills.
Well, the other thing that we have to consider at this point is that anybody with enough talent in TNA to land somewhere else has pretty much gone there and done that. You've seen a whole bunch of people either go to New Japan, Ring of Honor, or WWE NXT. And I'm not saying the people that are left aren't talented. They are. I'm just saying the people who knew they should get out before the ship goes down already have.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I don't think anybody's going to take Matt Hardy back.
Mm.
He's burned some bridges. Jeff Hardy might have a chance back in WWE.
If he can keep from falling back into his old habits. That's the only nice way I can put it.
Or falling off his damn bike again.
That too. He would have some restrictions on him in WWE, and I don't know if he would like that.
Yeah. Is somebody playing in traffic or something?
I suspect Jason has his window open.
Oh, okay.
I don't blame him either. It's hot as hell out there today.
it sure is.
That's why there's air conditioners, people.
Well, I got no right to complain. I've got the AC on and I'm in the basement, so I'm in the coolest part of my house.
Lord, I think my car thermometer read like 104 this afternoon.
Oh, ouch. That's brutal.
Yeah. South Georgia in the summertime.
Yeah, well, I felt it when I went out for lunch this afternoon and left my car out in the sun, and when I tried to get back in, those leather seats were so hot I could barely sit.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's move on to happier things. Why don't we talk about New Japan's Dominion card this weekend?
Now, before we
Yeah,
get to Dominion, just if anybody's interested, between now and Dominion, there is Suzuki Goon 3, which will be Saturday morning at 5:30 a.m.
Oh, goody. 2 days in a row of stupid o'clock.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what's going on with Suzuki Goon, so I'll let you two talk about that, and I'll just step
I know.
aside
I was
for a
just
second.
kind of tossing that in there and letting everybody know that that is going to be out there if y'all want to hunt it down.
Okay.
I don't have the card in front of me or anything. I was just tossing that out there saying it will be available.
Okay.
Is that on New Japan World or is that on the Puro channel?
Yeah, that's on the Puro channel.
Ah, okay.
That's why I
Do
said
you
I don't
have
have the card or anything out there.
Yeah,
but
that was my next question was, do you have the card? Do you have the lineup? I was searching
No.
for that, but if it's not going to be on New Japan World, it's not going to be, they're not going to have that listed, but yeah, at least it's not like at 11 o'clock at night, the morning before a 5:30 New
it's
Japan
at
show like the
5:30.
last one was.
It's at 5:30 Saturday morning.
Right, it's in the morning, where the last one, it was like late at night, and then the
Yeah, it
next
was
morning.
11.
The next morning there was a New Japan show, and some of the guys, over their local time, it was a morning show for the Suzuki Gun thing, and then an evening show for New Japan. But yeah, we'll get to Dominion, which is going down from Osaka, Japan, coming up on Sunday at stupid o'clock at, 5:30?
5:30 a.m. Luckily, it's on the weekend.
Yeah,
And Stevie, you are staying with us, correct?
Yes, that's the plan. I have my New Japan World subscription, and I'm ready to go.
Does it work?
Yeah, I've tested it out. Jason and I,
Okay.
we did it live after the show last week. He stepped me through it, and we went in, and I played the last day of the Best of the Super Juniors in the English commentary version. I made sure everything was working.
Good.
Stevie's going to be a New Japan addict with us.
Well, it's not difficult to get addicted to it. It's very, very easy.
Well, I'm going to let y'all run down the card for a minute while I step aside because I'm required by my boss at MMA Mania to fix something. So you two go ahead and talk about the card, and I'll listen.
Okay.
Yeah, first off, we got the Jay White send-off match. We have Manabu Nakanishi, Satoshi Kojima, and Hiroshi Tenzan taking on David Finlay, Juice Robinson, and Jay White. And very sad to see Jay White go. I mean, I know he's going to ROH on his excursion, and he can still be seen, but just not in the same context. But with that said, he is going to go to ROH, work more on a heavyweight style, and come back as not a junior heavyweight, but as like a G1 type heavyweight. So I'm hoping he can go out on top with a win.
That would be nice, although I honestly can't see, the uncles letting him win.
Yeah, you got what, the two ornery uncles and one of the crazy uncles?
Well, no, because who's in that match?
Nakanishi and Tenkozy.
You got the crazy uncles and an ornery uncle.
Oh, you got both crazies and one ornery. Okay.
Yeah, Nagata and Nakanishi are the ornery uncles.
And how many F-bombs is Juice Robinson going to drop in this match?
Oh, God, I wish they'd just duct tape him or that or replace his chapstick with super glue or something.
One of the loudest guys in New Japan.
He is. He's obnoxious as hell.
I want to see a match with him and Gato. Just the two of them just cursing each other out. Juice Robinson and Gato in the ring dropping F-bombs. Let's book that.
Oh, Lord. He and Rocky were bad enough.
Book that for Wrestle Kingdom 11. That was a decent match. I did
loved that
enjoy
match.
that one.
I loved it. It was loud. It was obnoxious. It was funny. It was like the perfect, mix of entertainment and wrestling. It was great.
Two of the Clown Princes. Yeah, it was probably my favorite match that didn't involve Will Ospreay in the tournament.
I know, and I at that tournament. I hate to say it, as much as of a hard time as I give Taguchi, it actually made me a Taguchi fan again.
It did, which is bizarre. It's like normally you're complaining about his ass-based offense and him ripping off Nakamura's mannerisms and moves, but here you were pulling for Taguchi, and it was bizarro world.
It was, yeah, but I mean, you wanted to root for Taguchi.
I wanted to root for him when he first came out with the recorder and Big Bird on his head, but then he just got away from that. It's like, dude, you want me to cheer for you? You got to do some more outlandish shit.
Yeah, but it was nice to see that old, serious kind of former junior heavyweight champion Taguchi come back.
For a little while.
Yeah.
He did get back to his Nakamura antics as the tournament wore on.
Yeah, but this will be Jay's last match. It's going to be sad.
Yeah, and Stevie and I were talking about it last week, saying that, maybe one of the uncles will beat Jay White, and then coming back, Jay White can have a program with them and try to get that, if they're still in New Japan by the time he gets back. Although Nakanishi's going to be wrestling till he's like 500.
I mean, look at guys like Fujiwara. He's going to be around forever.
Yeah, Fujiwara and
Kabuki. Kabuki's going to be wrestling until, he'll be getting up out of his coffin in the mornings.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see him at the Battle Royal at Wrestle Kingdom 11.
Well, they'll dig him up and haul him to the ring and put him in there. He'll spray somebody, get disqualified, and they'll go bury him again.
Koshinaka, he'll probably show up again, too.
But yeah, it'll be the last of Jay for a couple of years. Oh, Inoki's not going to come back. He's got, too much class for that.
One of these days.
I think he's washed his hands of it.
Never say never. Even the Eagles got back together.
Oh.
Now, sorry to interrupt, but since I'm back now, didn't I just see that either the Eagles or Led Zeppelin or somebody was involved in a lawsuit?
Zeppelin over Stairway to Heaven.
Who are they suing over Stairway to Heaven and why?
Somebody's suing them over Stairway to Heaven.
Really? Okay, who's suing them?
I can't remember who, but it's basically that it was kind of like a rip-off of another song.
Oh, they're doing the old, we wrote this before you did and you copied us thing.
Yeah.
That usually doesn't fly.
No. Especially with this song. But supposedly it's been going on for a long, long time.
Oh, it's just taken this many years to finally hit the court?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, sorry, back to Dominion, and now I can offer an opinion now that my duties have no longer pulled me away from the show.
Well, since we started talking about, digging up people to fight Battle Royals and Taguchi. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we were talking about excursions, and one of the things I wanted to ask you, Abby, when are Raijin and Fujin coming back?
Oh, they left, right after Wrestle Kingdom?
Oh boy, so we have a while.
Yeah, we have a while. They're normally gone for about a year. Sometimes a little bit more. So I would say maybe February of next year they'll come back.
Oh, and speaking of which, did I hear that Mascara Dorada is going to be in the Global Cruiserweight Tournament? Under a different name? I'm trying to remember because CMLL owns the Mascara Dorada name.
I don't know. I have taken on the lovely task of writing up a getting to know piece for all of the participants in the Cruiserweight tournament.
Well,
I will have to dig into that and find out.
I do have the full list of participants if anybody wants to hear them real quick.
Sure, go for it.
Akira Tozawa, Alejandro Saez, Anthony Bennett, Arya Davari, Brian Kendrick, Cedric Alexander, Clement Paywa, Damac, Damian Slater, Drew Gulak, Fabian Ochner, Grand Metallic, Gurv Shira, Harv Shira.
That's him.
Ho-Ho Lun, Jack Gallagher, Jason Lee, Johnny Gargano, Kenneth Johnson, Kota Ibushi, Lindsay Dorado, Noam Dar, Raul Mendoza, Rich Swann, Sean Maluda, I'm probably not saying that right, TJ Perkins, Tajiri, Tommaso Ciampa, Tony Nese, Tyson Dukes, Zack Sabre Jr., and Zumbi.
Grand Metallic is Mascara Dorada under his non-CMLL owned name.
Yes, that is correct, because when you click on the name, it redirects you to Mascara Dorada.
That kind of surprises me a little bit.
Why? That he's in
not
it?
that he's in it. Yeah, well, kind of, sort of. I mean, I would think if he was going to be doing anything, he would be doing it with, New Japan, maybe with the Super J Cup.
Honestly, I'm more surprised that they were able to nail down Kota Ibushi, because when he left, he said he was going on his own excursion to reinvent pro wrestling and do his own thing, and I didn't think he was going to ever commit to just being with one company in one place at one time.
Technically, he's not committed to being with WWE. None of these guys have technically committed to being with WWE.
I can't imagine they would put him in the Cruiserweight Classic, get one good look at him, and not want to keep him.
Well, they might want to keep him, but they haven't signed any of these guys.
You don't think they wouldn't at least have an option in the clause? Kind of like when guys try out for Ultimate Fighter. If they do good, and even if they don't make the show, they still have the option.
Well, I'm sure that's out there, but it's not like they've signed all these guys to all of a sudden be part of, WWE.
I suppose I can split the hair there, but
I could see him being part of NXT. Kota Ibushi just fits NXT to a T. I mean, he could be NXT champion for 50 years, and he's a guy that I think would get buried if he got caught up to the main roster. I mean, I have more faith in what they could do with Shinsuke Nakamura or Samoa Joe than what I would think they would do with Ibushi. If Ibushi does get signed, I can see him being in NXT and staying there.
Dude, if they could just give me, for a whole year long, nonstop, Kota Ibushi and Shinsuke... I'm so excited I can't even talk. Kota Ibushi and Shinsuke Nakamura in matches with each other, I'd be so happy.
Speaking of which, let's segue to what happened on NXT yesterday.
Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and
We're
do
just
that.
veering all over the place.
All over the place, but yeah, we had the big reveal when Finn Balor was, contemplating what's next for him and who should come out, what should happen. Shinsuke Nakamura's music plays and he comes out, so we're gonna get a match between Finn fucking Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura, and that's gonna be awesome.
I heard the greatest description of the way that Shinsuke Nakamura works, and I love the analogy so much, I'm gonna use it. He goes out there and gives you the minimum prescription effective dose. Like, if it's 1 milligram and that works, he won't give you 1.25 or 1.5 or 10 or 20. He'll give you 1. And there's nothing wrong with that because he gets the most out of that 1 that he can. He's effective even when he does very little. And that's why he's such a joy to watch, is just his body language and expressions. He can do almost nothing and he's still doing something.
Definitely.
He's a cool cat. He can just stand there and look cool and he can get over. Even when he speaks his broken English, he gets over. Shinsuke Nakamura, he is the king of strong style.
So, sometimes he actually reminds me of characters from Cromartie High School. I'm probably the only person out of the three of us that has ever watched that, but it's an anime about kids who think they're all tough and cool, and he kind of has that same body language to him. Like, he can just stand there and he's like, yeah, I look tough and cool. Maybe I'm not tough on the inside, but you think I'm tough.
Yeah, but the thing is, he could kill us all.
That's probably the difference between him and Cromartie is, he's a bigger killer than any of the guys on that show.
Yeah, one well-placed knee and we're all dead.
Well, I'll say except for Mekazawa, because Mekazawa could kill us all with a flick of his finger, or a crush of his claw, I should say, but I'm getting too deep into that here. That analogy no longer applies to anybody.
Are we all of the same opinion? This is going to be Finn Balor's final match in NXT before he gets called up.
Oh, Wrestling
Probably
Observer.
Probably going to be both of them.
Yeah, Wrestling Observer has called it. They said his debut on the main roster is quote-unquote imminent.
Finn Watch 2016 has kind of been, I'm kind of fed up with it because it's like every other week his call up is imminent. He's going to show up any day now. We all know he's getting called up sometime soon, so let's just quit saying imminent. It's going to happen.
I just don't see how you can top him versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, even the match he had with Samoa Joe in the cage, I mean, this match he's going to have with Nakamura is going to top even that. And there's just really nowhere for him to go after that but the main roster.
And it only makes sense if you wait for the results of Money in the Bank, whether the club wins the four-way or not, whether AJ beats Cena or not, and we'll get to those predictions in a little bit, but that would be the time to bring him in after the dust has settled from all of that.
Yeah,
well, I don't think it's going to be one and done with Cena and AJ.
Okay, I can see that possibility, but I don't want to make my prediction for it just yet.
Okay, let's get back veer back
New
onto
Japan.
the road and get back into Dominion then.
Alrighty, we'll get back to Dominion, and we've got Abby's favorite wrestler, R. Sleeves.
No, my favorite wrestler.
Stevie's favorite wrestler, teaming with Bad Luck Fale and one of the newest members of Bullet Club, Hangman Page, taking on Togi Makabe, Yoshitatsu, and Captain fucking New Japan.
Well, we all
Do I
know
have to
one
root
thing.
for anybody in this match?
All you have to say is Captain fucking New Japan is looking up at the lights. You don't even have to say anything else.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that's what's going to happen, but I don't care about anybody in this match.
Well, that's too bad, because I'm rooting for our sleeves.
Well, of course you are. For some reason, you actually like him.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm not even going to try to defend it anymore. I just do it. It's too bad.
I'll be interested to see the debut of Hangman Page in New Japan. I want to see how that goes over, how he fits in with Bullet Club. That's what I want to watch for. It's certainly not going to be for Captain Dickhead. It's not going to be for Captain Bad Hair Day, and it's not going to be for Captain King Kong.
Who would have thought there was more going on with Adam Page this week than Adam Cole? He got knocked out of everything with pneumonia.
Poor Adam Cole. He seems to have more health problems this year.
I know. It's the worst run of luck for him.
Hopefully he'll have a nice, speedy recovery and can get back to normal soon.
Yeah, well, pneumonia is one of those tricky things. It can go real fast, or you can be stuck with it forever. So hopefully he gets it treated the right way.
And yeah, one thing that I'm really glad for with New Japan this year is that they didn't have a Road to Dominion. Their Road to Dominion was the non-Best of the Super Juniors matches during the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. It's like I can't imagine having just watched Best of the Super Juniors and then having to go through a few weeks of like a lead up to Dominion. That would be rough.
Yeah, Best of the Super Juniors was rough enough.
Yeah.
That was...
I mean, it was fun and it was great, but it was rough.
It was rough. We get to do that again in August next month, or in 2 months for
July
G1.
and August. Into July and August for G1.
Yay! G1 coming up. What else do we have on the card here? We have Los Ingobernables, Paul and Bushi and Sonata taking on Yoshihashi and Tomohiro Ishii.
I don't know why I thought that Yoshihashi was going to get Sonata one-on-one.
It would be nice.
I think they're building to that.
I hope so, or maybe that'll happen during G1. They'll, get head-to-head a couple of times.
One thing I talked about with Stevie last week was that Yoshihashi has looked fairly strong in his losses to Sonata, where there was the one time where he didn't tap out to the skull end. He got put to sleep with the skull end. There was another time where he was in the skull end for what seemed like an eternity, managed to get out of it, and then Sonata pins him with a moonsault. So even though Yoshihashi gets taken to school by Sonata, he isn't made to look like the weakling of Chaos.
I know, our inexplicably mild tacos has become zesty all of a sudden, and it's kind of strange, He's not normally like this.
Or as I
he's looked really good and really strong with Sonata.
Or as I told Jason last week, the mild taco that went spicy was Sonata going from TNA to New Japan, because holy shit.
Yeah, Sonata's kind of changed just a little bit.
Just a little. Now that he's not booked by incompetent boobs and actually gets to do stuff.
Yeah, comes out there and...
Went from a member of a boy band to a member of the Misfits.
Comes out there in those leather pants and that skull mask and that baseball bat and, kind of scary as hell. I don't know. I'm calling this one for Los Ingobernables.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I see Sonata getting the victory over Yoshihashi once again. And continuing.
Of course.
If they're going to build up to a singles match where he gets even, he's got to keep losing until he finally gets the big win.
And Bushi will miss one or both of the Chaos members in this match, too.
Who's the other Chaos member in the match?
Mr. No-Neck himself, Tomohiro Ishii.
By the way, Abby, just as a side note, Jason said that when it comes to watching it live, don't stream it, just watch it on your laptop. Do you concur with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because for some reason, if you stream it live on Chrome, and I found this, if you stream it live on Chrome, it pauses and breaks, and I don't know what the problem is, but if you do it on your laptop, you don't really have that problem.
And I just run a HDMI cable from the laptop to the TV to solve that problem live.
If you run it off of like your data plan on Chrome, there's no problem. I don't know what the difference is, if there's a speed differential or what. Now, I've got no problem with Chrome running stuff out of the archives.
Yeah, I can Chromecast archives to my heart's content, and yeah.
Yeah, but the laptop is the way to go when you're running live.
All right, duly noted. I'll be ready with my laptop then on Sunday morning.
And then we get the singles match that nobody asked for and nobody wants. The low rung on the totem pole of chaos, Hiroki Goto versus Evil, Mr. Crushed Velvet himself.
These are two guys, I don't know what the hell they're doing with them, but it's like two square pegs in round holes.
And they're giving them a singles match. What the fuck?
They don't fit. Number one, you look at Evil, and it's like he's the gatekeeper to Los Ingobernables, and I can't for the life of me remember the guy in Greek mythology who was the guy that drove the boat down to Hades.
Oh, on the River Styx.
Yeah, the one that carried the scythe and, steered the boat literally from down to the underworld.
Yeah.
The Grim Reaper dude. I can't remember what his name was, but that's what he looks like. But Los Ingobernables, they're like a bunch of Japanese/Mexican street hustlers. I don't know what the hell they are. But Evil does not fit in with them. And then you got Goto, who's just, what's a nice word for Goto?
Lame.
Boring?
That's...
And it's like, they just don't fit where they are. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Oh, and the name of the person you were looking for, Abby, is Phlegius.
No, that's not him.
Oh, Phlegius was the boatman for the River Styx. There's pictures of him ferrying people across the river.
I thought he had a different name.
No.
Maybe I'm thinking Roman mythology.
I'll actually quote from Wikipedia here. In the Divine Comedy Inferno, Phlegius ferries Virgil and Dante across the River Styx.
Okay, maybe I thought he had a different name.
He's the ferryman. Anyway, sorry, go on.
I don't know, but these two guys, they don't do anything for me, and I wish to God that they were either out of the factions they're in, or that Gato would figure out something else to do with them, because they don't fit where they're at.
Or yeah, why can't you pluck Sonata and Yoshihashi off of their tag match, put them in the singles match, and throw Evil and Gato into the tag match? There's been much more of a build on Sonata and Yoshihashi than there has with Gato and with Evil. And nobody wants to watch Gato versus Evil. That's going to be the bathroom break match.
I don't know. You keep saying that to the point that I'm actually now intrigued by it, because, hey, I've never stayed up for live New Japan at stupid o'clock in the morning before, and the fact that you're just burying this match, I'm like, okay, can it really be that bad? I kind of want to see it now.
Well, Evil's going to kick out of at least one Ushigoroshi. I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
He'll come out with his laser fingers and his Flava Flav skull.
Jason, I think the crickets have come out in your apartment.
That's not mine. I mean, I hear them, but it's not in my. It's not.
That would be me.
Apartment.
I had to take the dog out. Okay, I'm sorry. She was whining at the door.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, she didn't break out of a crate, did she? I know you were having trouble with that.
The dog. I'm going to change her damn name to Houdini, because it doesn't matter what I do. She slithers out of the tiniest little opening in this crate, and destroys the house pretty much every day. So.
Change the name to Houdini because the freaks come out at night. Freaks come out at night.
She comes out anytime during the day or night or any time. There. The crickets are gone.
All right.
But yeah, I don't really look forward to Godot and Evil.
I just thought the crickets were Jason's opinion of it. That's why I suspected it was him.
Yeah, Blade Braxton lent me those crickets from WrestleCraft, and I broke them out for the Gato versus Evil. I broke them out for Captain Dickhead, too, but...
You know, I know MySpace is no longer a thing, but at one point I remember the WrestleCraft crickets had a MySpace page.
They need a Twitter account.
Yes, they do.
Have a Twitter account, but yeah, moving on in Dominion. This is another match I'm not really looking forward to. A 4-way elimination tag team match for the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships. We have Matt Sydal and Ricochet, the champions, taking on Roppongi Vice, Red and Rocky Romero, Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, and the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson. What a clusterfuck.
It is an elimination match, right?
It is.
Maybe that'll make it a little bit better. I don't know, it'll be entertaining and it'll be fun, but it'll just get so crazy.
It will, and I had really liked how they had started defending the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships in one-team versus one-team matches, and we had maybe 2 or 3 of those defenses like that in a row, but now we're back to the same old clusterfuck scenario of let's throw 4 teams in there and just see what happens.
Well, after all of the, attention that Ospreay and Ricochet got for the flippy-dippy shit, I'm sure Gato thought, well, let's just give them a match full of 8 people doing flippy-dippy shit.
Yeah, but I'd rather see, the champions be the champions and, have the other 3 teams battle it out amongst each other and not in a 3-way match to determine a number 1 contender, have that number 1 contender take on Sydal and Ricochet, and if they win, great, they're champions. If not, another number 1 contender can be determined, rise up through the ranks and fight for the title. It's just these 3-way matches and 4-way matches, and if they have 5-way matches sometimes too, it just gets to be too much.
I totally agree with that point. I just kind of hope that Ricochet and Sydal lose.
Yeah,
Sydal's creepy and, I love Ricochet to death, but Sydal's just creepy.
Well, if they're going to lose, I'm happy with any of these other 3 teams winning, because I like all 4 teams in the match.
I want Roppongi Vice to have a decent, long, meaningful run with these IWGP Junior Tag titles. They deserve it, they earn it, and something needs to happen so Trent quits looking so depressed.
I mean, it would be nice if Roppongi Vice was given the chance, but I feel like those guys are going to be in demand around the world, and they're going to have to keep dropping the titles every time they get called away somewhere else.
Well, none of these 4 teams are stationary in New Japan.
That's true. That's kind of why I like them all, because I see them all a lot.
The Bucks are in Ring of Honor and PWG and New Japan.
Same for Dragon. They're in PWG and ROH.
Roppongi Vice seems to be the most stationary team in Japan.
Actually, you might be right about that. I stand corrected.
Ricochet and Sydal aren't even a team except in New Japan.
I could see them working as a team elsewhere, just they haven't been booked that way yet.
Yeah, but they aren't even in the same promotion anywhere except in New Japan.
That could change too. Sydal could be brought into Lucha Underground. I wouldn't rule that out.
I don't know. He's just creepy. He smiles too damn much. People that smile too much are creepy. It's not normal. It's not natural.
Like that DDP gimmick back in WWF.
Or like Smiling Sam Alvey in UFC.
Or Apollo Crews. It's just not right. It's like, stop it. Just stop it. There is not that much in the world to be happy about, damn it.
Well,
and Apollo Crews is a monster. He should never smile. He should just kill people.
I already told you both. The reason for that is because he's supposed to be WWE's version of Terry Crews. And Terry Crews is big and scary, but he also smiles a lot.
Well, that would be one thing if he was a creepy serial killer guy that walked around smiling all the time just to freak you out. But no, he's trying to be all, smiley, happy people holding hands and,
Well,
it's just not right.
Wait a minute. The last time we got that, it wasn't actually as great as what you're saying, because that was the Boogeyman. He was creepy and he smiled at everyone, and that wasn't any good at all.
Well, he didn't have any teeth or anything. He smiled and a bunch of worms came out.
And he bashed clocks over his head like Flavor Flav in reverse.
Yeah, this guy's just, I mean, you look at him, you think he's normal except for that smile, and there's some kind of weird-ass shit going on in his head, and you're just waiting for him to break out, chainsaws and pliers and vats of acid and shit. It's just, there's just something not right there.
Well, moving on, we've got...
I watch too much Criminal Minds. I just watch too much Criminal Minds. It's one of them things.
I was thinking that or Doctor Who, because you were describing
a scenario. Well, Doctor Who, too.
I was picturing a Cybermen factory with the entire description you were giving.
Okay, next match.
Next match we have as a result of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, the winner of that tournament, Will Ospreay, taking on the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kushida.
And as I conceded to Jason on last week's show, I'm over-suggesting that they slow down with Will Ospreay. Put the pedal to the metal and go full speed.
They need to slow down on Will Ospreay.
Oh, now
He's
you actually think they should slow down.
I wasn't on last week's show.
I know you weren't, but you were the one who was telling me I was wrong and that they should go to the moon with him.
Well, they need to slow down because he's hurt. He's really hurt.
I know, but we've heard the same thing about AJ Styles, and he's still working main events.
Well, Will's got a torn meniscus. Will's got his back is all fucked up. They need to slow down just a little bit with him.
And same with AJ, herniated disc, messed up sciatica, and everything else.
Yeah, and the thing, I think they might be slowing down a little bit because they started to set up something with Bushi and Kushida. So it might be something along the lines where we might see Bushi interfere in this match.
I wouldn't want to see that, but...
I'm fine with seeing it knowing the backstory with Ospreay. I would prefer if something happened where, I don't know, an actual disqualification happened in a New Japan match.
So you're actually rooting for a fuck finish here, is what you're saying.
If it means that Ospreay loses and gets time to get healed up and healthy, yeah, because I would hate to see them put the title on him when he's hurt.
See, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that. This is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Championship they don't really take that seriously or defend all that often, and I don't think it would be out of the realm of normalcy for Will Ospreay to have the belt and then not defend it again until Wrestle Kingdom.
That's fine, great, and good, but I don't advocate guys getting in the ring hurt. We're in 2016. There is no reason in the world for anybody with a torn meniscus to be in a wrestling ring. There's no reason in the world with somebody with a fucked up back to be in a wrestling ring.
I kind of agree with both of you, and I hate to be the fence pole sitter, but on the one hand, there isn't any good reason, and on the other hand, Will Ospreay is just so damn determined to go out there and have a good match, he's probably not going to give a fuck.
No, and also, but with New Japan, they might not defend that title, but the champion is in matches on every show. So it's not like he'd be getting a lot of rest.
No, unless you put him in, 6-man tags or 8-man tags here and there, and use them sparingly.
That's exactly what I was
But he's still on the road all the time, and he's still on shows every night.
Well, if you're going to do the fuck finish, then make it a long-term build where we get video clips and interviews and like the Road to New Japan videos we got with Will Ospreay leading up to the Best of the Super Juniors. Make it an ongoing story that he got fucked and he has to get even.
That's really not how New Japan does things. But...
I know. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know if I really buy the idea of him getting fucked if they don't follow up on it and they don't do things like that. So I don't know.
Well, I'm not a real fan of New Japan getting more westernized than it already is.
Cough, cough. Ladder match coming up later. Cough, cough.
Yeah, I got words on that too.
Have we spoken our piece on this match?
My whole thing with this match is the fact that, Ospreay's hurt. If he wasn't hurt, I wouldn't want a fuck finish. But the fact that he's hurt to the level that he is, I would hope that would be something that was taken into consideration, and that the fact that we're in 2016, that maybe the wrestler's health is a little bit more important than the fact that, oh, we've got this hot guy that everybody's talking about. Let's capitalize on that and treat him as a piece of meat that'll put an ass every 18 inches. That shouldn't be the mindset that fans or promoters are in anymore.
I'm wondering what Will Ospreay's mindset is, because here's a guy who just won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. Here's a guy that's got a title shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. You know, what's going through Will Ospreay's mind? Is he saying, you know, I'm hurt, I want to take it easy, or is he saying, you know, this is my opportunity and I want to make the most of it?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Here's a guy that had to pull out of a show. Here's a guy that had to pull out of a show the other night because he was sick as a dog and puking his guts up in the back.
Some guys are driven to perform even past the point of stupidity. That's all I can say about this before we move on.
Well, let's hope Gato and his alien beard, you know, let's hope logic and common sense prevails, whatever the situation is.
Well, if he's that badly hurt, they should probably just cancel the match or have somebody take his place.
I wouldn't say cancel. I mean, if he can wrestle, let him wrestle, but not to the point where you're going to put a belt on him for 6 months and have him where he can't get himself fixed if he needs to.
I don't have good answers, so I only think we can move on from here and talk about the rest of the card.
Yeah, I've spoken my piece on this match. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say in regards to the Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Abby or Stevie.
I think we've said it all.
Next.
Yeah, Gorillas of Destiny. G.O.D. Let's talk about them.
We have Tonga Roa and Tama Tonga. God, I miss Tama Tonga and his antics. Taking on...
I've forgotten these guys exist.
I didn't. They were just on a show a couple days ago in the United States.
They don't get mentioned on New Japan. They haven't been in the last month or so.
Well, they've been on my radar.
They've been gone, and Yano's been in Noah. It's been... Is he ever coming back?
No, I don't think. Yeah, he's coming back right before the G1.
Is he going to be in the G1 again this year?
No, he's not going to be in the G1 this year.
Oh, okay.
I've already cried bitter tears of, anger and resentment over that. He and Hanma are coming back, but
I didn't even realize Hanma was gone.
I didn't either. I didn't realize Makabe was gone either.
Didn't miss him at all.
Not a bit.
Well, here's a hilarious fact for you both. The Gorillas of Destiny beat Corey Hollis and John Schuyler at WrestleMerica in Barnesville, Georgia.
See, this is the kind of crap I get up and around me that I hear nothing about until after it's done.
I'm sorry.
It's like, who do I have to bribe to get people I've heard of around me?
Oh, case in point of what you're talking about, I just got a random notice on Twitter when I was checking my Twitter timeline that Shelton Benjamin is working a Magnum Pro Wrestling show here. It's like, how did nobody from the promotion actually advertise that to me? How did I just have to randomly find Shelton Benjamin tweeting it out before I found out about it?
You would think that these people, especially with guys with names, would promote it a little bit better.
You would think so. In fact,
especially a guy who's in Suzuki-gun like Shelton Benjamin.
In fact, I believe there were 3 people on that card. Let me find it. It just struck me. Oh yeah, Damian Sandow and Joey Anderson are both on the card too. And if it wasn't for Shelton, I would never have fucking found out. So thank you, Shelton Benjamin.
Well, at least the tag match should be fun. Redneck Kung Fu and Tama Tonga. Always an interesting combination.
Should be good. I'd like to see more of the Briscoes in New Japan. They've been used very sparingly, but when they have been in New Japan, they've been very entertaining, and the crowd's gotten into them.
Yes.
Hopefully
this leads to bigger and better things.
I just want it to be a slobber knocker. I just want it to be fun.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
We'll get to see more of Tama Tonga's crazy antics.
We love Tama.
But yeah, I see the champions retaining their titles here.
Yeah, I don't see them losing them in their first match. Maybe in their second match.
Yeah. Their Around the World tour cannot end with them going to Barnesville, Georgia, and then coming back and losing the titles. That makes no sense at all.
Well, that, and we don't know when the next time the Briscoes will be back in New Japan either.
Speaking of guys who like to work hard, Jay and Mark, my God.
Are they currently injured?
No, I'm just speaking in general of
All
their
the time.
entire history. I mean, I once at a Ring of Honor live event saw Mark Briscoe go head first down onto the concrete, and I thought his career was over, and he's still wrestling today.
That explains so much about Mark Briscoe.
How did I know you were going to say that?
He's out there. I mean, he's way out there.
Oh, they're both out there. They're out there in Sandy Fork, Delaware.
Jay seems a little bit more on the sane side than Mark does, though.
I kind of wondered about that when he went into his whole rant about alternative lifestyles, and I'll just stop there.
Okay, just looking at him, Jay seems a little bit more sane than Mark does.
Looking at it, maybe.
Yeah.
But hey, I love the guys. I have a Man Up t-shirt, so I'm not knocking them in any way.
Yeah, I see Tama and Tonga.
You were not technically incorrect, Abby. That was a factual statement.
Tama and Tang. I see them two Tongan boys retaining.
Just say it.
Tama, Tonga, and Tangaroa retaining. There you go.
Just say it like Mobb Deep. It's the G.O.D. Father Part 3.
Gorillas O Destiny.
And then we move on to Yuji Nagata defending the Never Openweight Championship against Katsuyori Shibata.
I just want to see these two beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, you want the same thing I wanted in the last match. You want a total slobber knocker.
Yes. And we'll get it, too, because, that's just how they roll.
That's what they do. Lots of kicks to the head.
Yes. Because Shibata can never pass up a chance to kick Nagata in the head.
And Nagata can deliver some pretty stiff kicks to the head himself.
Yes, he can.
This will be textbook
I have a sneaking suspicion Nagata will retain in this match.
Jason, didn't you pick Shibata to get the upset?
Yeah, I'm going the other way. I'm going the other way on this. I'm thinking it's time to put the belt back on Shibata.
I, for some reason, see Shibata winning G1 this year. And I don't see him doing that, holding that never title.
Probably not.
This is never going to happen in a million years, so I'm pipe dreaming to even say this, but every time there's a WWE event and I'm covering it, I have to look up the odds and find out who the favorites are. I wish there was a bookmaker that did that for major New Japan cards, that put odds out on the matches.
I'm sure there is in Japan somewhere.
Stupid hair winning G1.
God, I hope not.
2 years in a row.
I hope not. Part of me hopes that Tana doesn't make it back for the G1 because he's hurt.
I could see that happening.
And I hope he stays out to get fully healed to come back.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I guess it depends on how healthy he is by the time the G1 starts, because he is out of the ladder match, and in his place is Michael Elgin.
I'm not looking forward to this match.
It's New Japan. There should not be ladders in New Japan.
No, there should not be. I'm fine with Brewmega. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with Mist. Things like that are fine. But
ladders, no.
All we're saying is give ladders a chance.
Next thing you know, they're going to have tables that actually break.
That's just wrong. Damn it.
It's Japan. We need tables that bend.
Honestly, it's better when they do break because that's safer for everyone.
It's Japan, damn it. The tables should not break. That's tradition. Strong style tables.
I don't know. I get worried whenever somebody takes a bump on a table and it doesn't break, because the immediate thought in my head is, you just absorbed all the shock of that impact, and that sucks.
Yeah, is the ladder match the match after Shibata and Nagata?
Yeah. We have Kenny Omega taking on Michael Elgin in a ladder match, the first ever ladder match in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
Might as well have Kenny Omega retain here, since Elgin is a last-minute replacement.
I can't see Omega losing, because the build for this has not been anything.
Yeah, it is a last-minute replacement. As much as I'd like to see Elgin win, as much as I think Elgin would be a great IC champion there, I don't see it.
I don't even like the idea of this match. I didn't like it when it first started. I like it slightly better with the fact that there are two Westerners in it.
At this point, I know he is, but I don't even think of Kenny Omega as a Westerner anymore. I've just become so used to him being a New Japan guy that I don't even think of him that way now.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of. But I mean, I'm a lot more comfortable with Elgin in this than I ever was with the idea of Tana being in it.
So
because
yeah, go ahead.
I just kept picturing Tana falling off the ladder and not getting back up. You know, and as much of a hard time as I give Tana, it's, you know, I know he's been wrestling hurt for a decade, and it's like, you don't get him near any kind of ladder because it's just not going to end well.
Yeah, this is a case of Gato being smart and saying, okay, this match is not suited to you right now. You step aside.
Yeah. You know, go home, rest up, get well, you know.
Maybe Vader can take to Twitter and shit all over this match, too.
Well, then I'd say both of their Canadian asses can go find him wherever he is and do flips onto him.
He's been at it today. I don't know what his damn deal is.
What did he say now?
I don't know. He's been retweeting people that have been complimenting him on what he said about Ospreay and Ricochet.
Well, that's as bad as Donald Trump retweeting people who congratulated him on calling terrorism.
You know, and saying he'll kick their ass and shut up and leave, you know, fuck you this and fuck. And it's like, man, just let it go.
Yeah, Leon White, you're not doing yourself any favors here.
Just shut up and leave it alone and quit. Just stop it.
Well, I almost think it's become the Iron Sheik gimmick for him. Like, now he's got something that people are paying attention to him for. He can't stop. He can't help it.
Well, everybody else needs to quit giving him attention for it.
Maybe that's the problem then. But wrestling fans, they were an interesting breed sometimes. I'm not going to try to distance myself from that because I'm part of that.
I see Omega retaining. It'll be a good match. Somebody will go through a ladder, probably bounce off a table. But it will not be my, favorite match on the card. It'll be one of my favorites because Kenny's in it, but that's about the extent of it.
Yeah, I'm thinking Kushida versus Ospreay will be my favorite on the card.
Could be. I don't think it'll be the best ladder match of the weekend.
Probably not. But yeah, we have one more match on Dominion, the main event, Tetsuya Naito versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
They better keep the title on Naito. He's so hot right now, it doesn't make any sense to put it back on Okada.
Okada doesn't need it. He's over anyway.
Yeah, and Naito has got charisma in spades. You need to keep the championship on him for a good while longer. Milk what he's done and how he's developed his character for everything you can possibly milk for.
As long as he doesn't physically damage the belt any further.
That belt was falling apart long before Naito got his paws on it. I saw something today out on Twitter. It's like, he needs to drop that thing off at an Ace Hardware in Tokyo. Somewhere and let them fix that thing up a little bit.
Yeah, Ace is the plate that can fix your title belt.
Get some rivets in there, do something with it. Yeah, I see Naito retaining. I don't see, hell, get Milano in there to smack somebody with a chair. I don't know, something.
Yeah, I see Naito retaining. He's finally getting over with the crowd. He's had enough time organically to become a heel, and it's working for him, and the gimmick's working, and him not giving a fuck about the title and just nonchalantly, casually tossing it here and there, handing it to Jay White it's working.
It'll be interesting to see how Osaka reacts to him. Since they supposedly hate him, And he said that he doesn't want them to go with the flow. He wants to hear that raw emotion from them.
Yeah, there are certain cities that do cheer him and certain cities that boo him. So it will be interesting to see how Osaka takes to him for their big show for Dominion happening on Sunday morning at stupid o'clock.
Well, it's better than it being like Tuesday morning at stupid o'clock.
Yeah. Thank God it's not in the middle of the week.
Yes, at least on Sunday, I don't have to rush around and worry about getting to work.
Yeah, it's not like on a Saturday night at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's fine because I'm up anyway. So
Those were rough. But that is Dominion happening on Sunday at stupid o'clock.
And be sure to follow us all on Twitter because we'll all be live tweeting at Abby A, at Great Sudoku, at AngryMarks, and at the cannon going off outside.
That was thunder.
Oh, wow.
It has been pouring here today, and yeah, nice thunderclap there.
I was fixing to say, you might follow the Great Sudoku if, and only if, he survives whatever's happening outside his house.
Oh, he's been thunderstruck. Yeah.
Keeping with that AC/DC theme, that AC/DC ripoff band we have for our theme song. That's them.
Oh, speaking of which, I know we've segued into rock music a couple of times tonight, but did you guys see the whole Fat Axel thing and how he's trying to get that scrubbed off the internet?
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations, Axel, because now you've actually made more people aware of it by trying to get rid of it.
Exactly. That's what I've seen. I've seen so many people online saying, I didn't even know Fat Axel was a thing until he made a big deal about it, and now I'm aware of it.
Yeah, one of my friends posted on my wall about that. He said it's called the Barbra Streisand effect. So I looked that up, and apparently there was a picture of her house on the California coastline somewhere. Like they were doing a survey of coastal erosion, and she complained about it and tried to get the photo taken down. And because her complaint was a matter of public record, like 5 million people went and downloaded the photo of her house. So she had the exact opposite effect of what she intended. By complaining about it, she made more people aware of it.
Well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's kind of a double-edged sword. The more you bitch about it, the more attention you bring to it. That's not always a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like TNA, isn't it?
Oh. TNA, boy, I never thought I would miss Don West, but
yeah.
I sure do. What in the actual fuck? That's TNA for you.
All right, well, sorry, go ahead, Abby.
It's horrible. I mean, on Facebook, it was 5 minutes of Matt Hardy clawing at curtains and making faces and spitting.
All right, well, on a different note, we have Jordan's Corner, so I'm patching Jordan into our call right now, and we're going to get him to give his thoughts on Money in the Bank this week. Jordan, are you there?
Hello, Angry Mark.
Good evening.
Yes.
You are just in time to
Good evening. How many times did you guys try to get me on the line here?
Well, the first one was a botch on my part, because I tried to add you to the call, and it turned into a separate call, but now you're on the show for real.
Well, that's great. It's great to be on Thursday Night AMP like I am on every week, every Thursday, so it's great to be on again, guys.
Yes, and for Jordan's Corner this week, you're going to give us the latest on what you're up to in Winnipeg and on the Jordan World Tour, and your thoughts also on Money in the Bank on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. First, let's start with the little stuff. I'm just kidding. Let's start with Money in the Bank this Sunday. Definitely looks like a great pay-per-view in the works. And remember, the guy who wins the Money in the Bank match has a chance to, well, let's be honest, mostly it's very rare that you won't see a future world champion out of the Money in the Bank match. So that's another thing to look forward to as well. Just looking at the history of this pay-per-view and what this pay-per-view has done, just gives you excitement for it that way. So I'm really pumped up about it. I'm excited to see Kevin Owens in it too. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is actually the favorite to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I like that idea because if there's anybody on the roster right now who can be a real prick about it and come around with that title and remind everybody that he can cash it in at any time, he would be the guy to do it.
Great, definitely. I totally agree with you there. And definitely Money in the Bank is going to be an exciting pay-per-view to see this Sunday.
There have only been 2 people that I can think of that haven't cashed in successfully. One is John Cena, who we all know his happy ass really doesn't need to cash it in successfully to be a star in WWE, so it was okay for him to be one of the 2 that lost it. But sadly, the other was Damian Sandow, and when that guy lost his Money in the Bank, he was screwed after that.
There is another situation, too, where people have actually lost the Money in the Bank contract in the match. I think the only person in WWE history to do that is the guest that you will see this Tuesday coming up on Jordan Garber Now. Mr.
Kennedy! And I can hear Abby in the background saying, never do that again, Stevie.
Yeah, I should do Mr. Garber, but no, we talked to, actually, honestly, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid. So this interview was a big deal. Here from Mr. Kennedy, he talks a little bit, he doesn't go too deep, but he goes a little shallow in talking about his WWE days and prior to leaving the company. He gives everyone all the information. He gives you the juicy facts on his time in WWE and what he thought of it. Hear that interview this upcoming Tuesday on VOCNation.com at 10:30 p.m. Central on, like I said, this upcoming Tuesday. It was great. A great weekend of wrestling traveling, and I'm just excited to keep doing it again. I've never seen a Ring of Honor show before, so to go to two and then have that backstage experience is definitely an honor. So hopefully these good things keep happening with Jordan J. Garber.
Absolutely. You should make the most of it and enjoy it while you got that opportunity. But, hey, to be honest with you, I would actually rather hear more from Mr. Kennedy about his departure from TNA and his time there, because the WWE story is pretty well known, but the TNA story is still to be told.
Definitely. I tried discussing TNA, his TNA departure with him, and either it was connected to another question of what his upcoming dates were. So here's a little bit of a spoiler alert. You will not hear him talk about his time in TNA. Unfortunately, I did ask the question in the interview, as you can hear, but he went right on to his future dates. So I think he wants to keep it on the lay low for a bit.
Yeah, he probably does. He probably doesn't want to talk about it. But that's why you don't ask a two-part question if you can help it, because people that don't want to answer the first part will always skip to the second. I had that experience.
Rookie mistake on the Garber's end.
Oh, no, it's okay, because I was just going to tell you a little story, because that happened to me this week. I knew if I asked a certain question to a fighter I was interviewing, he probably wouldn't answer it, and he would skip to the next part. So I said, I'm being serious, but I'm also being funny. Are you glad that so-and-so is no longer here? And he's like, next question, please. I'm like, I knew you wouldn't answer that, but I had to try.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's our job. I think people that are listening can understand why me and Stevie J and Jason and Kevin are big names in the wrestling media business, is because you gotta dig into those juicy facts. No one's gonna care if you ask a question and say, "Hey, thank you. How long did you train before you got in the ring? Oh my God, I'm a mark." No one wants that. People want to hear the juicy facts and why. They want to hear the inside stories. They don't want to hear about Captain Bob training them. Like, you could just look that up on Wikipedia. So that's the advice to everyone out there. If you're a podcaster, or say you're a podcaster, ask the right questions, get into the facts, or else no one's going to listen to your product. Why is this show that everyone around the world is listening to right now? People listen to this show because it stands out from other wrestling podcasts. The same Bob's Wrestling Podcast. This is one of the most popular wrestling podcasts on the internet. And I've earned my way here because I've worked hard, and I really deserve that opportunity, in my opinion, because I'm not afraid to ask those nitty-gritty, annoying questions from time to time.
All right. Well, let me get a few predictions from you, Jordan, before you take off this week. Rusev and Titus O'Neil for the United States title. Do you see Rusev retaining or Titus taking it from him?
We just saw Rusev win the title, and he's facing Titus O'Neil now. That kind of lays it out for you on paper. Out of all of a sudden we're going to see a new U.S. champion and some jobber's going to win it? No. Titus O'Neil is a great wrestler. He's a great worker, but he's not championship material right now. He's just not scheduled that way right now.
Well, except he is the Father of the Year, and it is Father's Day, so there is that going for him.
That is true. I didn't even know Father's Day was this Sunday. Happy Father's Day, Dad, in case you're listening. But yeah, that should be awesome. Father's Day this Sunday. I wonder, I wanted to ask the panel a question before I go. What is everyone getting for Father's Day?
Well, I don't know how Abby answers that question, but Jason, I guess you can.
I'm going over to my dad's house with my brother for dinner that night, so we're going to have dinner over at my dad's house on Father's Day on Sunday night.
All right, well, maybe, Abby, you're doing something with Dad. I don't know. What are you doing?
I don't have a relationship with my father, so
I'm not
going to answer that question.
That's what I thought. I was trying to avoid that, so I apologize.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. I want to do a little Father's Day segment and kind of spice things up a little bit on the show. I do apologize if I kind of puts everyone on the spot. But you know what, in all seriousness, so Father's Day is coming up this Sunday. Money in the Bank is coming up this Sunday. Pretty much a day of hugs and wrestling coming up. So, definitely it should be a good day. And thank you guys for having me on once again. Sorry for ranting all the time. It's just, I get lonely nowadays. So it's like, between being on the road all the time, I think my part of the script's over here tonight, but I want to keep going on. I just feel the need to chat with some buds on the wrestling podcast.
Well, we're glad to have you on, Jordan. So thanks for joining us, and no apology is necessary. So we'll catch you again next week, okay?
Yeah, and do what's right. Before I go, follow me on Twitter at Jordan J. Garber.
That's
do it up.
Right. Everybody follow Jordan J. Garber for all the things going on in Jordan's world.
Yeah.
We'll have him back on next week, and we'll talk some more about what's going on with him and what his next round of predictions are for the next big show coming up. But again, we're going to talk about Money in the Bank here. We've already got one prediction from Jordan. So, Abby, again, I do apologize for that. I had a feeling that was the wrong thing to ask, but Jordan put it out there, so I'm sorry about that.
Not a problem.
What do you think about Titus O'Neil and Rusev?
I don't see Titus winning anything.
Not even Father's Day is going to help him.
He's coming off a suspension, okay? I don't really see Vince putting anything on him.
Probably not. And Titus, as much as I like the guy, I respect his charitable work. I think he is a good wrestler. Sometimes could use a little more charisma. Sometimes he tries too hard to be charismatic, and it kind of is awkward when he does. But I look at him as a good hand and a decent person who's probably just going to be a mid-carder for life.
Pretty much. I mean, Rusev, if they would use him correctly and let him show some of the charisma he has on social media, on the, in the ring and during his promos and things, he's hilarious. And he's got a lot of charisma and he's good in the ring. I just wish that they would put a little bit more emphasis on the championships instead of having them be an afterthought to everything else.
I honestly would be happy if he just suddenly came out and said, hey, I live in Nashville, I like country music. Like, he's already lost most of his Russian accent, so if he just went full bore with it, I'd be fine.
He's great.
When you hear about things that he does at house shows, it's like, damn it, why can't he do those things on TV?
I know.
All right, Jason, what do you think about this match?
Yeah, I don't think Titus O'Neil is winning this. One thing that I'm glad about is the United States title finally is off of the pre-show. It's actually on the main card, and I think Rusev has a lot to do with that. I think he is bringing some credibility to that title, and I think that's why the title's going to stay on him. It's too soon to take it off of him. Let him have a run with the title, let him build up some credibility, and let him keep that title off of the pre-show.
Well, speaking of credibility, I already know from reading Abby's Twitter that she's a little hot under the collar about this. Charlotte is not even defending the title. She's in a tag match with Dana Brooke against Natalya and Becky Lynch.
And they announced the match on Twitter. They didn't even have the
decency to put it on television.
Yeah, I don't get, it's like the women's division has devolved. They went through this whole, we're getting rid of the Divas name and the Divas title, and we're having the women's championship in the women's division and announcing it at WrestleMania and this great triple threat. Sasha disappears. We're going to put her on a damn milk carton because we're not seeing her. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? We get a 3-minute match on Raw. And now this, and it's like, I don't know what they're doing. I seriously have no damn clue what they're doing. So let's just have this random tag match, and the shit with Charlotte and Natty has been dragging out for what feels like 6 months now, even though it's only been a couple months, but it feels like so much longer. Why Dana Brooke and her gray-headed ass is up on the main roster is beyond me.
It's because she has a physique and they like the physique.
No, it's because she has boobs, and they like the boobs. That's why she's up there. You can say it. She's got boobs, and they like the damn boobs.
Well, she got signed for being a bodybuilder.
But, I mean, it's like, I don't know. She's still greener than grass, and it shows in her matches.
Yeah, she got called up way too soon. This is not where she should be right now.
No, and I know the reason she did is because Naomi and Tamina are out with injuries. But still, there are better people they could have called up. And then, but then Emma's out, and then they're keeping Sasha off television for some ungodly reason.
Well, she took a concussion from the referee, and I think she only just got cleared within the last week.
Actually, she got cleared about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's been a little
because she's been on house shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
But has she been wrestling on the house shows?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd totally forgotten that. That's how low they've pushed the importance of her right now, is that she's working on house shows and I can't even remember it.
Yeah, and she's been on Main Event and Superstars.
Which I never watch.
Working with Summer Rae. Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not going to pretend I watch Main Event or Superstars. I don't.
But as far as the match goes, unless they're continuing this deal with Natty, I can see Dana Brooke doing something stupid to cost her team the match, and then them starting up some dumbass program with Charlotte and Dana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Jason?
This match belonged on Slammiversary.
No, see, because if it was on Slammiversary, somehow Gail Kim would be involved, and then it would be good.
Maybe. What can I even say? It's not a title match. It's a tag team match. I'm not invested. I don't care.
All right, then. So let's move on to a match where the titles are on the line and you can be invested. The New Day versus the Club versus Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains.
I don't see the titles changing hands in this one. Yet another 4-way tag team match. So this one I don't believe is elimination. This is first pinfall wins.
It is fatal 4-way rules.
God, I want Anderson and Gallows to win so bad, but they won on Raw, and that is 99.2% of the time. That means they're not going to win on Sunday.
It is, but they did the kiss of death for any tag team or champion ever by saying that they were about to set the record for the longest reign. That is the usual way you get fucked in WWE.
Yes. So that might eliminate New Day from retaining and Anderson and Gallows from winning. So that leaves us with Dumb and Dumber and Enzo and Cass.
Well, if that's all the possibilities that exist, I would prefer Enzo and Cass.
However, me too.
However, I will believe what I've seen in the odds, and I will go with the New Day retaining.
I would love to see Anderson and Gallows.
I would love to see that too, but I don't think it's happening.
I don't either.
They were not the favorites.
So
I'm pretty sure of that.
So I'll go with the guys with the female pleasure devices strapped to their foreheads.
All right. Now, everybody will be happy to know that AJ Styles is the favorite to beat John Cena. I believe it was like minus 230 to plus 190 the last time I looked.
I see this as the Kevin Owens syndrome. He's going to beat him the first time and then just get fucking buried.
You have absolutely no hope for AJ in WWE, do you?
Let's take a look back at AJ's storied history in Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Entertainment. Not particularly, no. I mean, I would love to say yes, but he came into the Royal Rumble and was eliminated by Kevin Owens, which was fine. If he'd have been eliminated by a WWE guy, then, that would have, the bell would have tolled for him right off the bat. Went into Mania, lost to Jericho after a less than stellar program with Jericho. And yes, I know you love Jericho like you love the sleaze, but still.
Yeah,
we'll agree to disagree.
I've actually kind of cooled off on Jericho the last few weeks.
What? The yak hair scarf and the dad bod finally wearing on you a little bit?
That and the fact that I stopped watching Raw live.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to be... I'm not as invested in WWE anymore, so.
Okay. I don't know. I worry about this thing with AJ. I mean, he was the face of TNA. They're never gonna, it'd have been like with Sting. If Sting had come in after WCW closed, and he would have never made it to the top tier. He would have been right at the cusp, but every important match, it would have been, let's just, I'm gonna pop you on the head, kind of like whack-a-mole. I'll let you come up, but then boom, I'm gonna hit you on the head. Just to remind you where you belong. Keep you in your place.
I mean, I hate that as a fan of him and his work, but I keep falling back to my same and possibly tired argument with him, is that if this is nearing the tail end of his career, at least he's collecting big money while he's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he went through that with Jericho, and then, I listened to Austin's podcast where, he said that AJ carried Reigns to 2 great matches, and you look at it and he did. Reigns is not bad in the ring, but in a lot of ways he's like Cena. The better Cena's opponent is, the better Cena looks in the ring. And I think that's true for anybody.
Yeah. But speaking of Austin, he's going to have AJ on the Stone Cold podcast live, and I'm just dying to see if he actually brings up TNA, because Austin doesn't always play by WWE's rules.
Didn't Edge and Christian bring it up on their show on the network?
They did, but they did it in a very coy way. They did a segment called Will He Talk About It? And then they asked him, and then they said, hell no, WWE won't talk about it.
But I just see this match Sunday. I mean, I see him stretching this out through SummerSlam probably. But I see AJ beating him on Sunday, maybe with shenanigans involved.
Club shenanigans? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Especially because the stipulation is because the club has been banned from ringside. So they're going to show up. Yeah,
banning is like the exact opposite of banning when it comes to WWE. The harder you ban somebody, the harder they're going to be there.
But then, I mean, AJ might get that first win over him, but after that, it's going to be just like with Owens. He's not going to get another one.
I'll wait.
It's like AJ is the number 1 wrestler in the world still, and he's probably the best wrestler along, right there with Cesaro and Rollins in WWE today. But it's going to be boop whack-a-mole. Let me just bop you on the head and keep you in your place.
As much as I like AJ, I don't even know if I totally agree with you about being number 1 in the world right now. I think Shinsuke can make a claim to that. I definitely see a few guys in New Japan that can make a claim to that.
Shinsuke is great, and I worship at the altar of the strong style. But when it comes to actual wrestling in that ring, AJ's got him beat. He does. I mean, Okada's got Nakamura beat when it comes to wrestling in the ring.
But he doesn't have as
charisma-wise.
Yeah, I was about to say,
nobody beats.
Yeah, he doesn't have the pure physical charisma that Nakamura does. Not even close.
Nobody has the charisma that Nakamura does. He is in a complete. He is in his own world. Nobody even comes close.
Yeah, and of course,
but AJ, as far as wrestling ability, nobody touches him right now on the roster, except maybe Rollins, maybe Cesaro. They're the only ones in his orbit.
The one way I can 100% agree with you is if I say it this way. When it comes to making guys look better, there's probably nobody better than AJ.
Yeah. And you're only as good in that ring as your opponent makes you look.
Yes, indeed. So, since we talked about Chris Jericho already, he is in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he's already acting like he's won it before it even takes place, but he still has to go in there and mix it up with some of the people you were just talking about. Cesaro for one, Sami Zayn for another, Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, and Alberto Del Rio. They're all fighting for that contract. So, who takes it?
Jason, I'll let you answer first.
I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens. He's the only one I want to see win this. I don't see Cesaro or Sami Zayn winning. I wouldn't mind them winning, but I don't see the WWE having enough faith in them. If Chris Jericho wins this, I just completely quit watching WWE altogether. Just
thank you.
I'm
agree.
done. I won't even watch pay-per-views. I already tapped out on Raw and SmackDown, but if Jericho wins this one, I tap out on WWE completely. I'm just done. I wouldn't mind if Ambrose won. I wouldn't mind if Del Rio won, but I think they would fuck Ambrose and Del Rio over if they did win.
I actually think Jericho stands the least chance out of anybody to win this because having the Money in the Bank would require him to be there almost every single week for television to remind people he has it, and then he couldn't tour with Fozzy, so he is like the least likely to win it.
I was thinking with all this, talk they've been doing, and they do it every year, almost every year if Jericho's around with, he invented the match and this, that, and the other. They've done it more this time. I was thinking maybe they'll give it to him out of nostalgia, and I was thinking that Monday during Raw, I was like, if they do, God, I'm going to be so pissed off.
No, I strongly believe it's going to be Owens. I think I'm already on the record when I talked to Jordan for that, so I'm sticking with that.
We're over at Top Rope Press. We're doing a series of, they're called Money in the Bank, the Case for, and then we go through each person, why they would be the best to win. Owens is the logical choice, and I have a bad feeling that WWE won't go with it because he's the logical choice. I picked Ambrose because it just kind of makes sense after that god-awful Ambrose Asylum segment that was awkward. I think that's an understatement as to what it was. I don't know if that was just a tease or if that was a foreshadowing of what's to come, but people have been wanting that triple threat for the Shield three-way ever since they broke up.
And that is honestly one of the more intriguing teases they put out there. Even if the segments aren't building it the right way, the idea is building it the right way. Because every time Ambrose starts to climb that ladder, people are going to be popping for it, thinking about the fact he could cash it in during the world title match later.
Yeah, and if you look at the brand split and how they've already started talking about it, you've got AJ and Cena on SmackDown, Roman and Seth on Raw. Well, by God, you give Ambrose that briefcase, there you've got Raw right there with a angle and a storyline that people are already invested in. And that's what's been missing from WWE is that emotional investment from the fans.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like it or not, those three guys,
they got a story. They got a reason.
Yeah, and if you pay attention to Tumblr and Twitter and fan fiction and shit like that with Ambrolins and Ambrains and all that crap, people are invested in the Shield. Not necessarily Roman Reigns, but the Shield. They're still invested 2 years later. So you've got that ready-made storyline that people care about already.
Well, let me just go to Tumblr right now since you mentioned it.
Oh, God.
No, I'm not going to read the fan fiction. I'm not going to do that.
Don't.
No, I'm not, but I'm going to look at my followers right now because AngryMarks.tumblr.com if you want to follow me there. But among my followers, there are a lot of people who are fans of members of the Shield. I'm followed by, let me see here. Where are those names? I see them every time I log in and now I can't find them. Fangirl Toradell, whose, handle is Rollins is God's last gift. So, that's a Seth Rollins fan. So then I've got Mad for Moxley that follows me. So there's your Dean Ambrose fan. I could go on and on, but I've got a lot of followers of members of the Shield or of the Shield themselves.
Yes, there are tons of fangirls out there that would be hugely invested in that, three-way deal between Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose.
Yes, indeed. And not just for the fan fiction, but just because they've done great things together and apart on television. So any combination of them is fun to watch.
Yeah, and they have treated Ambrose so bad. But if you look at it, he has been the most consistently over face for the company over the last 2 years, with the exception of Daniel Bryan.
I was about to say he's become the de facto Daniel Bryan. He is the guy that people cheer for no matter how he gets booked.
Exactly. And so whether the company sees him as a top guy or as one of the faces of the company, the fans see him that way.
Yes, I totally agree. And yes was not trying to make it a Daniel Bryan thing, but yes. Okay, since we've already talked about Reigns and Rollins, let's just assume there isn't a cash-in and it's not Ambrose. Does Reigns retain? I say yes.
Yes, via shenanigans in.
Unanimous.
That's unfortunate, but we already know the facts of the matter, and they're going to stick with Reigns until we're all sick to death of it. So it's
we're already all sick to death of it.
Well, I'm less sick to death of it because I'm not watching Raw anymore. So
They're going to stick with Reigns until Reigns gets an injury that prevents him from wrestling. So it's going to be the same thing that had Rollins lose the title.
Okay, I'm still annoyed about the fact that Rollins was turned heel the first day he came back from injury. He had the best babyface storyline ever. He got fucked out of the title. He didn't even lose it in the ring, and they still brought him back as a heel. Why?
And then they ran that WWE 24 thing that was, God, how could you boo the man after that?
I know how hard he works to come back. It's the ultimate babyface story. He's not a heel at all.
No, but then they expect you to boo him because, God, you've got to cheer Roman Reigns.
No.
Because he's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's just the guy.
That is killing Roman Reigns for me more than anything else. That
And when
stupid
that
goddamn catchphrase.
When that walking shampoo commercial stood in the ring Monday night and said, come money in the bank, or whatever he said, the guy is going to beat the man. I looked at him and it's like, you dumbass, whoever wrote that line for you, did they not realize how stupid that sounds? Because the man is greater than the guy. That's just simple math.
Well, taking it from somebody who didn't watch Raw and has only heard about this on other shows and other podcasts, it sounds like script writing was not WWE's forte this week.
Script writing hasn't been WWE's forte for like the last, I don't know, 18 months.
Okay, but I'm referring in specific and in particular to the segment involving Francesca. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure where they were going with that, but
I don't think we want to know where they were going with that because it sounds to me like everybody's had a turn blowing Francesca. And the moment I heard that, I was like, oh God, I'm glad I didn't watch Raw.
yeah, and I want to know who on the creative team spends that much time watching horn porn.
That's actually a term?
I have no idea, but I'm guessing it is since they had that much material to work with. I'm sure it's a fetish somewhere.
Oh, Lord. Well, you know what the internet rule is. If you say it, it exists.
More than likely.
Oh, you know what? I think there are 2 matches on Money in the Bank that I did not even preview yet. I believe these are both pre-show matches. So
Pre-show matches, yes.
really, really, really quick. And I do mean really quick. Not like a Blade Braxton really quick, but a real really quick. Who do you pick in Ziggler versus Corbin? Jason?
This is a toss-up. I'll go with Corbin.
Abby?
Corbin, and they never face each other again.
Amen. Agree. Unanimous. We also have Apollo Crews and Sheamus. Abby?
Sheamus, as long as he kicks that smile off his face.
Sheamus because he's starring in a movie and they usually push guys when they are. Jason?
It should be Apollo Crews because he's the one they should be pushing, but that's not how WWE operates, and I'm going to go with Sheamus too.
All right, unanimous on both of those. So, I think that's just about everything, unless Abby has some topics, because she hasn't been here for a couple weeks, so I will defer to her if she has anything else we should talk about.
Nope, I'll come up with something after we're off the air, though. I normally always do. I'll remember something afterwards.
All right. Jason, any final things you want to discuss?
No, I think that covers it for the week.
All right, then let's do our cheap plugs. Jason, you're first.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Great Sudoku. I do live tweet the New Japan show, so check that out. Stevie will be tweeting with us too this week. Of course, you can check out my cooking blog at veggiebending.wordpress.com. And of course, I'll also plug New Japan World, the best 999 yen you can spend a month.
That's right, and it's only about $9.25, and I'm happy to spend it. Abby, what are your plugs?
You can find me on Twitter at Abby A. I'm normally out there tweeting sarcastic and snarky wrestling stuff and about 5% of non-wrestling stuff. You can find me on Top Rope Press and Angry Marks. I will plug both of those sites. And I will plug PuroCentralShop.com because, Kevin's back on my good side this week for all of your Puro needs. And if you love Asuka Kana, as she used to be known, go out there and shop Kevin's shop because he's got tons of Kana stuff, tons of Muda stuff, Ken Puro cards, calendars, programs, all kinds of goodies for all of your Japanese wrestling needs.
So basically, he is the Puro version of J-List.
Pretty much.
Yes, because J-List, their tagline is, you've got a friend in Japan. So I'm going to cheap plug them right now. If you want Japanese snacks, Japanese knickknacks, Japanese toys, video games, J-List is your friend in Japan. Find them at jlist.com. And they didn't pay me to say that. I actually used their service. So it's fucking awesome. That's all I have to say. And on that note, Thursday night AMP draws to a close. So for myself, for Jason at Great Sudoku, for Abby at Abby A, and for myself at Angry Marks, check us all out on Sunday morning as we get up at stupid o'clock to watch Dominion. Good night, everybody.
You took it to the limit. Now you're falling off the edge. Too late to be forgiven.